How quickly after filing your mandamus lawsuit in federal court are you going to get your actual asylum interview? Look, here's the process. You file with court, and then it takes the court usually several days, sometimes a week, sometimes two, to create a document or some documents that you need, that we as your lawyers need to get and put together on top of copies of the filing. And we then send this new packet out to the people that we're suing, the different groups we're suing. And from the time that that mailing reaches those people, the government then has 60 days to reply and tell the judge what the government's position is with regard to our lawsuit. During those 60 days is when they usually call us and say, oh, Brian, let's talk about this. And we negotiate and we argue with them, and they eventually end up saying, okay, we don't want to fight anymore. We'll give your client their interview. Now, try to make a timeline out of that. We're looking at perhaps 60 days from the time they actually get served, get the packet in the mail. But before that, there's a few days for mailing. And before that, there's a few days or a week or even two that it takes the court to produce the documents that we need them to produce. So we're looking at 70 days, 80 days, 90 days before we get the actual interview notice usually. Sometimes it's quicker, sometimes it's 40 days, sometimes it's 30 days, but often it's 60 to 70 or 80 days before we get the interview notice. Now, that's not the same as having the interview. The interview notice tells us when the interview is. The interview is probably going to be a month to 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 months in the future from the time that we get the interview notice. Okay? That's how the timeline tends to work, but it varies, okay? It does vary.